The Zephyrian High Command had calculated everything with mathematical precision. Earth, that insignificant blue marble in the outer spiral arm, would fall within 72 standard cycles. Their intelligence networks had monitored the planet for millennia, documenting humanity's primitive nuclear weapons, their clumsy chemical rockets, and their pathetic attempts at space exploration. Commander Vexthul adjusted his battle crown as the invasion fleet emerged from hyperspace. 3,000 warships, each the size of a small moon, materialized in perfect formation around Earth's solar system. The humans had managed to establish a few colonies on Mars and Europa, nothing more than scattered outposts that would crumble at the first sign of orbital bombardment. "Begin scanning protocols," Vexthul commanded, his forearms dancing across the holographic controls. "I want a complete tactical assessment before we—" The words died in his throat. Where their sensors had detected empty space just moments before, massive structures began decloaking. Not hundreds, not thousands. Millions of vessels emerged from the void, surrounding the Zephyrian fleet in perfect spherical formations that stretched from Mercury's orbit to beyond Pluto. "Impossible," whispered Sub-Commander Kralith, her chitinous exoskeleton trembling. "Our intelligence showed no indication of such capability. The human ships were unlike anything in the Zephyrian databases. Sleek organic curves merged with crystalline matrices that pulsed with energy signatures that defied known physics. Each vessel radiated power levels that dwarfed the Zephyrian flagship. A transmission crackled through the comm systems, spoken in perfect Zephyrian. "Welcome to Sol System. This is Admiral Chen Wei-Ming of the Terra Defense Consortium. You are trespassing in sovereign human territory." Vexthul's primary eyes bulged. "How do they know our language? How are they—" "We've been watching you for quite some time," the human voice continued, seemingly reading his thoughts. "Your scouts have been mapping our system for the past 50,000 years. Did you really think we didn't notice?" The tactical display showed impossible readings. The human fleet wasn't just larger, it was orders of magnitude more advanced. Ships that bent space-time around them like origami, weapons that seemed to channel the power of stars themselves, and energy shields that made Zephyrian deflectors look like primitive barriers. "Surrender now, and your crews will be relocated to a suitable world in the Andromeda galaxy." Admiral Chen's voice remained calm, almost bored. "Refuse, and we will demonstrate why humanity spent 500,000 years preparing for this moment." Sub-Commander Kralith pulled up historical files, her claws clicking frantically. "Sir, our earliest records show humans were barely using metal tools when we first cataloged this system. They had no spaceflight, no fusion power, no visible technology," Vexthul corrected grimly. "We measured what they wanted us to measure." The truth was staggering. While the Zephyrian Empire had conquered 17 star systems through brute force and superior numbers, humanity had spent 500 millennia in deliberate, methodical preparation. They had built their civilization not outward, but inward, into dimensions the Zephyrians couldn't even perceive. "Your mistake," Admiral Chen continued, "was assuming that a species that survived ice ages, asteroid impacts, and continental drift through pure stubbornness would be easy prey. We've had time to think about this, a lot of time." The human ships began moving in patterns that hurt to look at, their formation shifts revealing tactical doctrines that incorporated probability mathematics, quantum entanglement communication, and something the Zephyrian computers could only classify as weaponized evolutionary psychology. Vexthul realized with growing horror that humanity hadn't just been preparing weapons, they had been preparing themselves. The species that had once fought each other with sharpened sticks had unified their entire planet around a single, patient purpose, making absolutely certain that when the universe came knocking with hostile intent, it would regret the visit. 57 minutes, Admiral Chen announced. "That's how long our war computers estimate your fleet would last if we engaged. But we'd prefer not to waste the resources. Your choice." The Zephyrian commander looked at his tactical screens, then at the impossibly vast human armada that had appeared from nowhere, ships that could fold space like paper, weapons that could rewrite the laws of physics in localized pockets, and worst of all, the patient, calculating intelligence that had orchestrated this perfect trap. Humanity hadn't just survived their violent prehistory. They had learned from it, refined it, and scaled it up to cosmic proportions. "Signal the fleet," Vexathul said quietly, his voice heavy with defeat. We surrender. As the human ships began herding the Zephyrian vessels toward the outer system, one final transmission came through. Oh, and Commander? Next time you plan to invade someone, maybe don't spend 50,000 years announcing your intentions. Some species actually pay attention. The last thing Vexthul saw before the transport beam took him was Earth itself, still blue and beautiful, but now revealing the massive orbital infrastructure that had been hidden in plain sight all along. Humanity hadn't just built an armada, they had turned their entire solar system into the galaxy's most patient, most thorough, and most terrifying mousetrap. And they had waited 500,000 years for someone foolish enough to spring it.